All right, boys.
Well,
Yeah.
let's jump in here. So, what is going on, everyone? This is the Hacker Outdoors podcast. We are joined today with Reneil Alcordo for a second day in a row, really. And Brian and Joey are here with us today. So, welcome, guys. How's everything going?
Pretty good.
Doing a little bit of Hollywood Square here for a second.
Just let me up high. Can you do it?
Go on, Joe.
Go on.
You want me to fist?
Fist bump. So I don't know what it looks like, but I'm on top of Brian in my screen. Joe, you're below Reneil. Is that the same for everyone?
Okay.
No, it's different. I have me and you left, right, and then Reneil and Michael, Brian left in the bottom. I can't speak today.
We are different than whoever I like. Whatever.
So, we had a pretty good conversation yesterday, Neil. We're already over 1,000 views on that reel on Instagram. Joe, we found out some pretty cool things on there that you and I can do on there. So we'll have to do a little bit of that magic tomorrow. But we really thank you for coming back, Neil. Typical format, you do listen, so I'm sure we go over a little bit of outdoor news, but we wanted to dive in really into a little bit about your outdoor endeavors, right? What kind of calls to you in the outdoors, and of course, we'll get into a little bit of fishing and your new love of motocross, which is always interesting to me. We did talk about it a little bit yesterday, but Brian's smirking because Brian wants a dirt bike so bad it's not even funny.
I bought a dirt bike, not a house. That's where my mind's at. Truck, dirt bike.
I'm with you.
House is down.
The kids next door built a pump track and they rip around their backyard with they have like one tabletop and then they go through the woods. It's so funny.
Oh God. You need a dirt bike, man.
I know. Well, more expensive.
Yeah. Well, but you have a snow blower. I mean, you could always get a quad and then just put a plow on the front of the quad. I mean,
It's true. I do have a tractor too. I could probably try to rip that around the track.
Well, you know what we could do, Brian. I need a place to store my dirt bike. I might just store it at and use it. Huh?
Love it.
Here it is.
Wait, can we take this back for a moment, Brian? I'm trying to picture your neighbors. They have a dirt track behind their house, like in their yard?
Yeah. So like if you look from the second floor, you can see it. So basically, our yards are really long in the back and it's backed up against the stream. So basically behind our houses to the right, it goes into woods. And what they did was in the center of their backyard, they have, I don't know how big it is, but basically it looks like almost like a pump track, like an old school BMX pump track going around in a circle. And right in the center of it is a tabletop, like a 3 or 4 foot tabletop they made like just out of dirt. And they haven't done it in a while, but when I first moved in, the kids were always back there ripping around on their 2 strokes and hitting the jump and then going in the woods. I think the one guy, the father, when I was mowing my lawn once, told me that he got in trouble by the guys behind us, called the cops on. I mean, if you're on your own property, you really can't do anything. I guess it's just timing and how loud it is. I don't know.
They can't do anything unless it's late at night. I mean,
yeah. Joe knows all about that. Joe, you Harley Davidson belt buckles. You need to.
I know a lot about the law. I can tell you that.
So, Neil, you got into this. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, somewhat recently. How often are you riding at this point? I mean, I know it's 2 feet of snow out there, dumped pretty damn hard over the past 48 hours. So not any time in the near future, we'll say. But when was the last time you've been?
Man, I mean, the last time was probably like 3 weeks ago. I got like a yearly pass to some track and acres down in Pennsylvania. But I mean, even like my first time, I was dirt biking in snow. It was dangerous, but I didn't know anything about dirt bike. I've never rode a motorcycle before. Never thought about it. I actually was against it. Once my sister put me on it and they brought me to the track, I was like, let's just go for it, man. And then, my sister's boyfriend Jeff, he went in to check out the trail first, so he went zooming past with his bike, and then he came back. His was just like shaking. Oh man, this is bad, man. This is not good. Snow covered, rocks all over the place. And I'm looking at him, this is all I know. So to me, this is dirt biking. So I just went for it, man. But like 3 weeks ago, definitely, that was the last time I went.
So will we be seeing you in like any competitions anytime soon? Because I know Brian Kirk is really into this, right?
Yeah, Chris. Funny enough, you called me today. Yeah, he still rides. I know consistently. I think he just got a new bike at KTM, and yeah, I'm sure him and Neil. I told him actually, Neil, that you're getting into it.
You did?
So I'm sure he's gonna take you.
He's a nut, dude. I mean, we got to talk about that time we went to what mountain was that? We did with Three Peaks. What was it?
Yeah, the Slide Mountain Loop. Yep.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But from what I remember, and Chris is great, man. This guy was like 10 leagues ahead. I was like all the way to the back. Brian was my Sherpa. So it would be the same thing. Like, I'll take corners like a little old man, and he's gonna be like far off jumping stuff.
Well, sometimes you got to go for it and just jump. I mean, worst that can happen is you break bones. I mean, they'll heal.
Yeah, exactly.
If you have insurance, you're good.
Maybe.
Well, you know what the good story though, Brian? Remember the first time I met Chris surfing? So I had just bought a new car. I bought a Mercedes, right? So I was really a jerk off, right? I'm going to meet these freaking surfer guys, Brian, Kirk, and then I drive up to them. They hold a parking spot for me. I go in, and I've been driving a stick shift for like 10 years with a shitty little Cobalt, and I finally upgraded. So I just got the car. I meet up with Brian. I come up. I accidentally put my car into neutral, and I rev it like a. Goes, and I'm like, holy shit! I roll down the window like, I'm sorry guys, this is a new car. I don't know what I'm doing. And then I think Kirk said like to you, like, who's this asshole in the Mercedes? But you don't know, I caught my first wave because of two of you guys.
You did.
That was dope.
You stood up and everything.
Yeah, all I could hear was just both of you guys coaching me. All right, paddle hard. All right, stand up. All right, stay on it. It was a good day.
Such a good day.
Like, good people.
So you guys went backpacking, we'll say backpack camping up in the Catskills. So you said it was Slide Mountain?
Yeah. So it's not a secret. So I'll just pull up the spot. It's the Slide Mountain Loop. So it's in the Catskills. We did 20 miles in 2 days. I took 3 people that had no idea what they're doing. And
Joe's like, no, doesn't.
And
you're patient. You're patient.
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Safe, man. I was one of those dumbasses that didn't know what I was doing. I was slow, and Brian could champ up there with Chris, and they can be up ahead. I didn't expect to do. How many miles did we do?
So the first day I think we did 12, and the second day we did 8.
Yeah, so it was just
over 3 peaks.
From what I understood, because the guy who planned it said that it was going to be like a nature walk, and I was like, okay, the weekend, and you can camp over. The first time I went to the trail, it was like elevation like this. And I looked at Ryan, I was like, who planned this?
So slide is, I think, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to double check, but I'm 90% sure it's the tallest peak in the Catskills. Can you see it, Mike? But that right off the bat, the gradient and the terrain was ridiculous, and I knew it was going to be the steepest part of the whole thing. So it was to me, in my history, backpacking, you want to hit the heavy, steep stuff right away, so that way you're kind of cruising the rest of the time, and your body's kind of shocked into submission a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I play that much.
Yeah, it says it's the highest peak in the Catskills.
Yeah.
I wanted to give up so bad, like probably like an hour.
Slide Mountain, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing here, man? But I was the only one that would stay back with me because I was dead last, and like he was right behind me with his walking stick, like a freaking like caveman.
Like Gandalf.
I was gonna say Gandalf.
You shall not fail.
Every time I sit down, he'd like chomp twice, and then you'd hear it. You're like, oh shit!
Crap, Brian's coming. Better run. Oh, Neil.
Yeah.
Good times. Well, that's how I teach people to snowboard. When I lived in Breckenridge, there's a girl a whole bunch of people we knew came and visit, and one of the girls didn't really know how to ski too well. It was a powder day, and she wanted to go with me while I rode. So she had to learn how to ride the T-bar to the highest peak in Breckenridge and ride the hardest terrain in Breckenridge. She did it, but I told her, if you want to ride with me on a powder day, I mean, this is what you have to deal with. I'm not going to slow down just because you don't know what you're doing.
But Joe, I like that because I feel like you learn the hard way, and it's kind of the best way. I don't know. Maybe it's just that it's like you have no fear after that because everything else is just like, I did a powder day with Joe. Like, you put me in like a green or whatever route that is. Like, oh, it's easy. You know, it wasn't.
Yeah, you can do anything from there. Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you really like? For me, I'm not scared. Like, someone's gonna tell me not to do something dumb eventually.
Yeah. You know, I got you at the end of it, right?
Oh,
I mean,
dude, yeah,
I'm right
man.
behind you.
Yeah, and that was one of the biggest things for me, especially when we're scaling halfway, like on the walls, and like you could if you had like, I had your shitty backpack, by the way. The strap,
hand me down.
Yeah, the strap was really broken, and it was like the strap wasn't even on me, so like the backpack was going this way, so I had to like force my body certain ways, and then all of a sudden we'd scale a wall. I'm with this shitty backpack, and Brian's just like, "You're okay." I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "You're okay," and you just go for it, and it's like, "Okay, you made it down."
Yeah, there's so on the second peak, I forget the name of it, but on that loop we did, there's 2 specific rock scrambles that are kind of known to be pretty dangerous. So they actually, I think they closed down that part of the trail during the winter. They ill-advised it or something like that. But the one Neil's talking about, it's like basically a cliff face, and it's got a little ledge like this, and the trail there's trail markers on the cliff face. You have to stay on the cliff face to get around it, and then once you get around the corner on the side of the mountain, you have to pass packs to each other to get down the little cliff jumps, basically, where they're about 5 or 6 feet, and they're like footholds to hold, and it was a lot of fun. I thought it was a great backpack trip.
Like I wasn't lying, man. I was scared at first, but once we got through it, it felt good.
You learned by that way, like
Well, definitely.
What's the worst that can happen when you realize nothing really bad happened? It's like you said, everything's easy from there.
100%.
Well, that's always been the way that. I mean, when I got into everything, it was simply the same thing that you said, Joe. Snowboarding, right? My buddy Bob, hey, we're going snowboarding down this trail, Mike. It's a powder day, like it's a black diamond. If you feel like it's too steep, just go down on your butt. Like you'll be all right, right?
Exactly.
Like
just slide down.
Just slide down if you're uncomfortable, and you did get really comfortable pretty quick. Although, I did break my arm a few times snowboarding, doing stupid stuff. I did get very comfortable with knowing my limits, right? Because I learned on a black diamond. And the same thing on surfing days. I remember Bob once again teaching Reno, I think it was during a hurricane. And, Reno's thinking he's drowning, and he's just, he gets up, and eventually he learns pretty quickly that, he's exceeded what he thought was his limits, and now has extended that. And the fear is gone at that point. You've destroyed it. And you did that, Neil. That's that hike, man.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do it again, though. I'll tell you that much.
You don't want to go camping with us?
I will. But I have to be. What I didn't like was the misinformation beforehand, and the surprise of a mountain that was like this. Because I really thought it was gonna be like a walk in the park.
See, if he would have told you that, you wouldn't have came. Then it just would have been him.
Yeah.
The training was funny, or actually the lead up was funny. So basically, a mutual friend of ours, Jake, him and his now wife, they wanted to go on a backpacking trip, and so did Bernardo, who bought all this equipment off Amazon. And and I told Jake and everybody what I was doing. I was like, at first it was going to be like basically like a 5 to 10 mile loop, pretty flat ground, maybe on the New Jersey side of the Appalachian Mountain, which, if anyone that listens to the podcast will know what loop I'm talking about. And Jake came out and said, no, I remember the group chat. I actually still have them. And he's like, no, we need to do something way harder than that. I was like, okay, you want to do harder? And I went and bought the trail maps. This one I went old school, actually. So I bought the trail maps, and I plotted the different, the trail out that I was planning on doing. So, green blaze to red blaze to black blaze to, whatever it was. I think the last one was yellow. But the loop was pretty extensive, and you get what you ask for. Neil is just along for the ride.
That's usually me. I'm always along for whatever, as long as I'm usually down.
Good attitude to have. I mean,
oh yeah,
nothing fun ever happens if you don't have that attitude.
No, and nothing good ever happens after 12 o'clock, right? Or is it midnight? After midnight?
That's a pretty true statement. I can vouch for that. I mean, bad things happen after midnight.
It's true.
Poor decisions.
Poor decisions. That's how I met your mother, right there. That's a great quote. So you guys do this peak. I mean, this is, I remember you telling me when you got back, Brian, I think we were still living together at the time. And you're like, we've done a lot of camping trips over the years, you and I, and you're like, I'm glad you didn't come, Mike. And I'm like, well, that hurts. That hits me right here, right?
Mhm.
But geez, man, when you guys told me those stories, and we don't have to go into too many details, but long story short is I think, people were unprepared, right? Which is something we always talk about. People probably weren't in that kind of shape to be doing that type of trip. And equipment. I mean, we talk about equipment and being able to do certain things. Like when you go hiking, you don't really need all this fancy gear. But if you're doing 20 miles camping trip, backpacking camping trip, you need the right gear. Because a lot of things can go wrong in that situation. And the right gear can make your life a heck of a lot easier in a trip like that.
I went down the list. I created a packing list for everybody. I think I still have it. Like maybe I could share it to show everyone. But the packing list, basically, because it was summertime, it was July, I think, was primarily water. And so just bring one change of, not even a change of clothes, just bring changes of socks, maybe a sweatshirt and rain gear, and the rest is just water and food. And I don't think everyone listened to me.
No, you know what though? I'll say this, Brian. When you brought that list out, I bought everything. I think I was just not physically or mentally prepared.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say that the next thing I had to say was, Neil, you were actually coming off of you did so this was post training. So I think this is when you were on a what do you call it? Yeah, when you're trying to gain all the weight back.
No, I was on a decline. I lost
a decline, yeah.
And then we had gone, and I was already deprived. So, that's right. I forgot all about that.
Yeah. And I remember the entire time we were going, because I remember on the walk up the hill in the beginning through the steep terrain, Neil's energy cut out right away. So I had a bunch of protein and beef jerky and stuff like that. So as we're walking, I'm just literally handing Neil more and more food, keeping his energy level up. Yeah. That was at the end though.
I almost fucked up my ankle, man. You know what it was too? Like, I'm not a big water drinker. I just, for some reason, I just forget to drink. So by the time we got halfway through the day, everybody's like, I have no water. I'm like, oh man, I got half a pouch still left, and I didn't drink anything. And I was wondering why I was getting delirious, and then I'd fallen, and you were shoving food down me, and I was like, I felt so much better. But that was a rough one. I think that created a different kind of experience, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't drink water all the time. I forget quite often.
But you know what they say, by the time you feel thirsty, it's already too late. Dehydration has already kicked in. And when you're doing an activity like that and you're hiking and you're burning calories, man, left and right, like you need to be constantly drinking. Like that's like, oof, like I can tell you, like, I know I'm so in tune with my body and dehydration that like, if I am just even a little bit dehydrated, I will know immediately. Like you just feel the telltale signs. And by the time you get to the point where you're dehydrated, you start to get those headaches. You start to get the, lack of, we'll say almost like vertigo type symptoms, right? Where your head starts to spin and your motor skills start to decline. That's dangerous, especially when you're out there in the wilds like that. So do me a favor, Neil, drink more water.
I don't. Absolutely. I feel like I'm a pedestrian going into this mountain thing. So it's like, that's not in my head. My head is just like 1 foot, the other foot, 1 foot, the other foot. Brian's clanking at the back saying, go faster. Like, okay. And then you just like, you fall and Brian's there saving you again, shoving food down your throat. Like, you can make this,
Well, you have that thing that Brian and I have, right? Which is, I'm not going to say what it is we call it, but basically there's this like the Incredible Hulk symptoms, right? Like where you'll literally die before you stop. Like if you get into that rhythm of just 1 foot in front of another, or let me just continue to lift things and pick things up and put them down, like we'll die before we stop. Like it's this issue. Yeah. You're saying, Neil?
Oh no, I could relate to that.
Yeah. It's Neil, you know this too, because you've been training me for years. The train to failure. Not many people can actually do it. But me and Mike absolutely can, and you've seen it for me at least.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I'm gonna tell one story about Brian, right? YMCA, you remember this?
Yeah.
Oh my! I had just got interested in training, right? And I'd read all these books, so in theory I knew what I was doing, but in practice, just bullshit, right? So Brian let me train him. He gave me 100% control. We measured him beforehand, and I don't remember the measurements, but after the training, you would increase like a couple of like inches around the chest. So we go upstairs to chill out, and Brian's like looking queasy. I'm like, all right, dude. He's like, yeah, I'm okay. Vomits all over the racket court, and I'm like, holy shit, dude. He's like, I feel better. I was like, okay. So we're young. We're like 16. No,
Yeah.
16, man. So I was like, bro, we gotta get the fuck out of here. Let's get you some data.
You'll have to puke everywhere.
We don't clean up the vomit. A part of me, so we're leaving, and a part of me feels bad. Brian's like pale, walking out, and I go up to the front, like, listen, I think someone vomited upstairs. It's disgusting. And then the rest of this, we go home, and it was just like funny times.
Well,
they went back and watched the cameras and were like, those assholes.
those jerks, yeah. Well, Brian has a history of doing that. We did Krav Maga. We did a class with a friend of ours, and once again, we work until failure, right? We didn't have our waters with us. They didn't really let you drink. We were going hard for like, it had to have been over an hour at that point. And some friend just like looks at me, and we had just got done sparring and doing like all these push-ups and lunges and you name it. And Brian's just like, gives you the look like, oh no. He just runs out of the room. He comes back. He's got like a little bit of dribble still on his face. He's going like this. He's like, all right, I'm ready to go.
Right back into it.
Let's go. Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you, Neil. Joe.
That happened to me one night. I just worked out really hard and went upstairs and got sick on Brian's gi.
I was going to say that. And all over that picture that Brian's now hanging in his house.
Yeah, it's in the other room, actually.
I don't think it got on the picture. I think it was pretty much on the gi.
Yeah, it was just on the gi.
Right,
and that wall.
Like, how did that happen?
I was just working out real hard at the bar one night.
Wait, so question: you all cousins? Is that?
We are.
Okay, so now I understand the the pattern here, because you guys are all the same. And we're all the same, like just go balls to the walls, man.
That's what I used to do. My mother always says I take everything to the extreme. Since my injury, I can't, but that was pretty true before.
You know what? Maybe this is bad too, but I agree with you. I agree with the way you're thinking, because why not, man? You live life once. Like,
if you're going to do it, you're supposed to do it right and just go all out. That's kind of how I feel.
Joe lives his life a quarter mile at a time.
Pretty much.
Okay, Vin Diesel. So, we're coming up basically on 50 minutes here. I know we started a few minutes late. I think we got some goodness in there. Did you guys want to finish up on anything here? No,
I think that was gold.
Yeah, I got nothing.
I will say, so like, if you guys get dirt bikes, let me know, man. We gotta go.
I would love it. There's actually there's a surfer from South Jersey, young kid. Ever hear that kid Ethan Dunn, Brian?
Yeah. I've heard him before.
He lives in South Jersey, and they have a dirt bike trail on the beach, like at the side of his house. Like if you follow him on Instagram, it's pretty badass. I guess he has a couple of minis. He just strokes around there all day.
Oh, awesome.
They also go ride in God, why am I drawing the name of the park? The national park land that's between the beach down there. The Jersey Devil lives.
Oh, Joe.
The Pine Barrens.
Pine Barrens. They ride in the Pine Barrens a lot too.
Do you surf also?
I used to, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, man. If you guys are out there, let me know.
Definitely.
I'll be dead last, but I'll be chugging along.
As long as you're having fun, man. As long as you're out
all
there.
That matters.
Amen to that.
That is it. Well, guys, I really appreciate your time today. Neil, always a pleasure. We welcome to have you back sometime in the very near future on this with all of us knuckleheads. And Brian and Joe, man, it's good to see you. Joe, you guys doing all right with the snow down there?
Yep, we're doing all right. It's still snowing. It started
Here
snowing
too.
about like 3 hours ago.
What are your totals?
About a foot right now.
Oh, you got a baby snowstorm down there, man.
A little north of us. Well, it's weird how it happens because I'm in northern Baltimore County. Harford County, which is just below Delaware, got it, and they got a lot more. Just really with those coastal systems, it's all about that low. If that low is literally like a mile down on the map, we would have got all of it. That's what they were saying originally. The low pushed a little higher, but it's wrapping around. I mean, it's still snowing. I mean, the totals are still going up. So
It's wild. Yeah, I think the snowdrift in front of my house was up to almost 5 feet, and then
what?
we measured just over 24 inches. So
Well, literally about 15 minutes up the street from me, 20 minutes maybe. I think they have about like 15 to 18 inches. That's how the line goes. Like we're 6 to 12. They're like 15, 18. It's really, Maryland either gets hit or like certain parts do and don't. It's really kind of strange how that works.
well, we hope you stay safe down there, Brian. I'm calling you out. Neil, if you got a snowboard, I'm calling you out. I say maybe tomorrow evening meeting down at an undisclosed high school to ride a nice big hill.
You guys should have been at Mountain Creek today. That's what I used to do. Me and my
no.
buddy, we were there when it was happening. I mean, you got a 4-wheel drive, Mike. I'm all-wheel drive.
We did it last year. I honestly I there's a few reasons why that didn't happen.
I know.
We won't get into that, but you know that. And but I definitely plan on hopefully hitting up that track. I just sent Brian a text message. My buddy was there today, not at Mountain Creek, in one of these giant hills, and he looked like he had fun. He was doing some hooks and face plants, and it's always
So
good.
fun.
Some of those old school rails too in there, so you can do some good times. All right, guys. Joe,
All right, gents.
pleasure.
All right,
Neil,
guys.
thank you, man. Brian, talk to you soon. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks for
It was
joining
a good
us.
time, boys. All right.
All
Look
right.
at that beauty.
Don't you start with me.
Oh, you're beautiful.
All right, so that was the Hacker Outdoors podcast with Michael Hacker, Brian Hacker, and of course, Joey McCormick. If you like what you heard, please give us a rating on whatever platform you're listening to or watching this on. Please check the show notes for some links about the topics we discussed today. And as always, we thank you for listening.